All right, so this protest appears predominantly in the south. So from Oyo, Lagos to Port Harcourt, Abuja, we're seeing this protest happening. But we're being joined in the program by Charles Opurum, who was actually tear-gassed. Our correspondent was tear-gassed this morning by the police. But he's going to tell us the story of how things played out. Charles, thanks for joining us. Maybe you'll bring us up to speed as to a peaceful protest and how things escalated rather quickly that you got tear-gassed in the process.
Hi, good afternoon, Jeff. Yes, indeed. So the protest originally was slated to commence on the flyer they released. It was supposed to start at 7 a.m. and the venue was the Isaac Borough Park, like you rightly mentioned. I mean, I got there and there were policemen there. Initially, they asked us to leave. We left, we went across the road, and then the leader of the police, the officer in charge, we had a conversation with him and we said, officer, we are pressed men. We are not protesters. We are here to cover the protest. And then he said, okay, fine, they should allow us, And then we stood by. And when the protesters arrived and started interacting with the policeman, the officer in charge said, you guys are not cleared to stay here to protest. Your protest is supposed to be at the federal secretariat. So there was a little bit of back and forth. And some other police officers were even demanding that we should shut down our cameras and not record. And we resisted. We said, no, we even have the permission of the officer in charge to record, and all that. So after all the back and forth, the protesters started marching from the Isaac Borough Park towards the federal secretariat, and we were following. And when we got to the CFC flyover, which is directly behind me, here, this is the CFC flyover, just beside the Corpus Christi Catholic Cathedral here in Port Harcourt. The next thing we saw was they stopped, the protesters, and then they started shooting tear gas. Everybody started running helter-skelter. Even people who were going about their normal businesses that were not even part of the protest started running. So I stood at the corner to try and film what was happening, to try and shoot and get shots of what was happening. And unwittingly, I inhaled the tear gas. And then it gets more interesting. A police officer approaches me, grabs me by the shirt, and starts to manhandle me. He asks, who are you? Who are you? And I said, I am a journalist. I gave him my ID card. He looks at it and he says, so even if you're a journalist, if you say don't protest, are you supposed to be here? And one thing leads to another. He starts beating me and shoves me into the van that is coming. He tries to put me into a bus. I said, no, this is not a police bus. You can put me into your police vehicle, but not this one. So he drags me into a police van and pushes me and closes the door after slapping me. And the people in the van turn and look at me and say, Charles, what is happening? They know me. Apparently, they know me because I'm also a police correspondent. And one of them was asking, what did you do? I was standing there recording what was happening. And he said, after that, what else did you do? I said, nothing else. So we just had a conversation and they said, oh, they are so sorry that this happened. Please, I should just be careful. And then they said I should go. So I was with them for a little over 5 minutes and then they let me go. Right. So that's basically what transpired here at the CFC flyover. Okay.
So two things quickly. It's a shame. That policeman, I wish we could get his name so that we can call him out as much as possible because it's an embarrassment to the Nigerian police force. If someone has shown you an ID card, showing a reputable organization like Channels, you should have backed off. But that's to talk about the shame of the illiteracy sometimes we see in the Nigerian police force. Unfortunately, that's what we have to deal with sometimes. We have to call them, and these ones that are embarrassing our police, will shame them. But was there a reason they actually started throwing tear gas? Was there a reason? Did you find out whatever the reasons were that they eventually started throwing tear gas?
So this is where it gets interesting. When the police were originally trying to prevent the protest from happening at Isaac Borough Park, recall that the organizers, the Take It Back movement, and the Niger Delta Congress, who were the ringleaders of this protest, had actually written to the Commissioner of Police, informing him that this was where they wanted to stay, and they have a copy from the police. Now, when there was some form of pushback from the officer in charge here, who was saying, oh, that they're not aware.
Okay. I think Network is also protesting against the conversation, but that's our correspondent Charles Opurum, who was doing his carrying out his legally protected responsibility according to Section 22 of the Constitution. Charles, are you there now?
Yes, I am.
Yes,
I am.
If you can just wind down in about a minute, in just 1 minute, so we can move.
So what the officer in charge said was that you people have addressed the press. You people have already made your voices heard. So why are you processing again? You guys should end this protest now. And the guys were arguing with him. I said, no, we have the right to march. We're not blocking the road. And I was standing there watching all of that happening. And the next thing, he makes a signal, and all hell breaks loose, and they start shooting tear gas. So even my colleagues who were covering it, everybody had to scamper for their safety. That's basically what transpired here, Jeff.
My sincere apologies to what happened to you. It's a shame. And I think we'll escalate this to Muyiwa Adejobi, who is the first PRO. It's a shame that the level of illiteracy we see within the police force, the lawlessness, the shameless lawlessness we see within some of the ranks of the police who don't represent the entirety of the police, that don't understand the rights of the people, the rights of journalists to do their job. But please take care, and I'm sure they'll watch this and they'll make a decision as to how to carry. And today is actually Nigeria Police Day, and this is happening. It's a shame. But thank you, Charles. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.